round 14 Friday games, 2 away wins. How many of you guys picked both of these? I would have thought not that many. I at least picked the Bulls one, but man, that Jaguares one was quite the upset. I don't think many people saw that one coming. But hey, it's a pretty strong team, so I guess it's not all that surprising at the end of the day. The first one was the Jaguares taking down the Hurricanes 28 points to 20 in Wellington. I've been talking about updating their logo for a long time. I've still been using the old this Jaguares logo on my board for a long time, but after this result, immediately after the game, I went and put together a magnet because, yep, it's about time I got to it, and they need more attention. So, yeah, I made the magnet because that was quite a result. That being said, the game started with the Hurricanes getting the first points. Lamapi did what he sometimes get criticized for not doing. There's a bit more of the distribution stuff. He put a kick through for Fafita, who went down the wing and put it down in the corner, but they couldn't convert it, so it was 5-0. Jaguares turned down 3 points about 10 minutes later. That was at the first minute, that first try. Not even a minute on the clock. So Jaguares turned down 3 points. They start putting pressure on the Hurricanes defense. And with a little kick through, Jordy Barrett has the most deliberate knock dead you will ever see. It was literally just a swinging hand batting the ball dead. So, yeah, that was pretty dumb, and I think he'll admit that was pretty dumb, and I think most social media is probably calling him pretty dumb for that one. So, yeah, he got yellow carded, and that was a penalty try. Not good for the Hurricanes, so 7 points to 5. I will say, if you're going to do something that dumb, at least you did it in a Super Rugby game instead of like an All Blacks game, and especially not an All Blacks World Cup game. So get that out of your system and don't do that again. Maybe he's played rugby league before where you can do that. Not sure. Anyway, within the 10 minutes that he's in the bin, there's nothing really happening. The Jaguares don't manage the game particularly well during that period. They don't put a lot of pressure on. But as soon as the Hurricanes are back to 15 men, they think, okay, well, we can go score again. So Krevy goes over from a big maul. That makes it 14 points to 5. Jordy Barrett kicks a penalty when he comes back on. Makes it 14 points to 8. But then he misses touch. And there's multiple times in this game where the Hurricanes miss touch. So they were a touch off the pace. 33 minutes. Who's that one? Oh yeah, De La Fuente. My pen was running out of ink. De La Fuente got his try a few phases after a line-out. That makes it 21-8 before half-time. But then later, as I said, Jordy Barrett missed touch. Like later on, he kicks a ball when they've got a penalty. He kicks it. He peels off huge meters. So real up and down performance, I guess, from him. So the Jaguares have to absorb a bit of pressure right before halftime. They managed to hold things out. Jaguares guys look pretty pumped when they managed to stop the Hurricanes from scoring right before halftime. Second half, Lamapi gets a try. Perinara had a bit of a cutout pass to Lamapi in the corner. Kind of made it game on, 13 points to 21. And the Canes scrum was pretty huge at times. For a scrum that was under a lot of pressure last week, they were certainly putting the Jaguares guys under the pump. But then Montoya got his try following a Mojano line break. Made it 28 points to 13, and it was pretty much game over because that was only, 15 minutes to go. And Leo Pepe got a try consolation right at the end to make it 28 points to 20. So Hurricanes still needed to score 2 more times to get a win, 1 more time to get a bonus point. They didn't get either. I was a little bit critical of the Jaguares for not playing their stronger team last week, given they went so close against the Highlanders. But man, they shut me up. They played their strongest team, and they played really well. Their forward pack was just really immense. And I guess that's one area where the Hurricanes kind of struggle in some games. It's definitely not week after week. And I mean, saying that their scrum was really good. Just apart from that, they were under the pump a fair bit. Um, yeah, I mean the stats. The Hurricanes had more run meters, had more possession, more territory, but I don't think you can kind of measure some of that ruck dominance and just that oppressive play by the Jaguares on those Hurricanes forwards. The Hurricanes didn't do themselves any favors. Lineout was only operating at 75%, which is pretty poor. It's 1-4, not going the right way. Neither side was tackling that well, both at 75%. And the Jaguares conceded almost twice as many penalties. But yeah, like I said, silly things. Kane's lineout not going that well. Missing touch when you got penalties, all that kind of stuff. Silly yellow card and penalty try. Yeah, it's just not good. And there'll be a bit of talk about whether it was Bowden not being there. I'm not sure whether that's all that fair. I think it was more the forwards than the backs for this one. But then again, the backs weren't firing that well either. Speaking of firing backs, Matera tried to take a kickoff receipt by kicking it, like a flying kick. That was weird. So this game had a bit of everything. It was also orange against yellow, which is... Sometimes Super Rugby does that silly jersey choices thing. Like the Hurricanes have worn their black jersey multiple times at home, but when the team's coming in orange, they decide to wear the yellow one, which is a bit... I mean, it wasn't a huge clash, but it was just a bit of a funny choice. Like the Jaguares got a home jersey, which is black. They could have just worn that as well. I would have thought black and yellow or orange against black would have been more sensible, but hey, it was what it was. That leaves the Hurricanes 7 points behind the Crusaders, and the Crusaders have played one game fewer, so well behind. The Jaguares at the time took top spot in the South African Conference, but the following result put them down into second, but they're on 32 points. And they play the Waratahs over in Sydney next week. The Hurricanes have a bye to kind of rest and reevaluate what was going on with that one. The next game, the Rebels against the Bulls. Similarly to that first game, like the Rebels went out to an early lead. They did get a bit closer, like they pulled things back a little bit more than the Hurricanes did, but they never retook the lead after the Bulls went in front. So only one lead changed the whole game. They did manage to bring it level, but Rebels had all the ball early. Eventually, Karabetti got a try, made it 7-0, but then the Bulls get a try from a poor Rebels kind of kick receipt. I admit I was a little bit turning my head to watch the game because I was too busy making that bloody magnet for the Jaguares, but I was still watching it. The Bulls had some good D, kept pushing the Rebels back up the field, and then Pollard got a try and made it 14 points to 7. The Rebels took a loose high ball and went from Maddox to Guinea, and then that was a try, so made it 12 points to 14 because Cooper's conversion went off the post. Guinea is a pretty good, I guess, heads-up play. He's good to find the try line in that kind of situation. Pollard had a howler where he missed, where he kicked the ball out on the full, so he wasn't at 100% either, but he was pretty solid throughout the game, to be fair. Yeah, there was no scrum for 35 minutes in this game. I didn't realise until the commentator said it. There was a lot of scrums in the second half, but they didn't have any scrums until 35 minutes, which is a very long time. Vermeulen had a knock-on from a restart, so there were moments where it was a bit, less than perfect at times. And just before half-time, Pollard kicked the penalty, made it 17 points to 12 at half-time, which was pretty impressive given that the possession and territory stats were pretty much 80% in the Rebels' favour. So the game management and the defence of the Bulls was pretty impressive. They were making the Rebels feel very uncomfortable on the ball. And in the second half, they interviewed Dave Vessels, and he essentially said that he's waiting for them to get tired because they're big guys and he doesn't think they're going to be able to keep that up for the 80 minutes. I think they kept it up for the 80 minutes. Second half, Karabetti gets a try very early on. Ainsley, the big prop, was down the wing for whatever reason. They missed the conversions. That tied it back up at 17-all. But then Speckman, man, 58 minutes. That was... it was worth the price of admission to see that little move from Speckman. So Speckman's going down the wing. He kicks the ball forward. He gathers it, and he knows he's about to be tackled and taken into touch. So he drops to the ground after regathering his own chip through, and then stands back up because the guys have kind of run past him because they weren't expecting him to drop to the ground. He kind of American football quarterback style passes it to Udendal, who goes in for a try. That was a bit of amazing quick thinking. Very, very special try was that one. That made it 24 points to 17. Pollard misses a penalty after that, but then Speckman gets his own try from a big, big pass out wide when he's in acres of space, and there's no stopping him from there. And the scrum half actually passed it through Guinea's legs because Guinea was it was at the base of a ruck, and Guinea was kind of trying to close down the space and standing all around him, but he was leaving a big gap between his legs, so they passed it between. Amazing. But yeah, 29 points to 17. Then Pollard kicks a penalty, 32 points to 17. It's all done and dusted. Impressive win for the Bulls. Apparently they hadn't won overseas in several years. So, yeah, man, very good job from the Bulls. Again, that puts them on 32 points, the same as the Jaguares, but they are ahead of them on the table. The Rebels are on 28 points, 1 point behind the Brumbies. They have played the same amount of games now, so that game in hand is gone for the Rebels. So their destiny is no longer in their own hands. We'll see how they go. That being said, the Rebels do play the Sunwolves next, so based on recent form, one would think that the Rebels will go over to Japan and get a win. The Bulls will be facing the Brumbies, so the Rebels will be hoping that the Bulls can do them a favour and get another win, because it is between the Rebels and the Brumbies at this point in Australia. Interestingly, when I looked after the game, the run meters were identical at 361. They may have changed after the game. But interestingly, from those 361 run meters, the Rebels did it in 136 runs, whereas the Bulls only took 90. So more efficiency with the ball, I guess. Possession of territory ended up being 60-odd to 30, maybe 63-37, I think, overall. So the Bulls had a bit more ball in the second half. Tackling percentages, 87 for the Bulls, which is really high for Super Rugby. 83 for the Rebels, which is not bad, but the Rebels only had to make 66 tackles, whereas the Bulls made 135. So solid defensive display. Penalties conceded, 11 to the Bulls, 7 to the Rebels. So not a huge amount of penalties. I guess the first half not having that much in the way of scrums was a part of that. But yeah, both very interesting games. Both had some pretty interesting moments, some skills, some magic, some stupidity, some howlers. But yeah, what did you guys think of the games? Did anybody pick 2 away wins? Certainly not me. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on the games, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.